So, thank you so much for being here today, Marie-Delphine. I want to ask you to introduce yourself because you'll do a way better job than I could do.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. It's an honor. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, I've got more than 30 years of experience in the fashion industry at all levels, from luxury to ready-to-wear and mass market internationally, from the US, Europe, India, China, the Middle East. And I basically understood the system of the fashion industry in and out the past 30 years. But I also now join bridge the fashion industry with technology innovation and quantum innovation, but many other innovations too, in order to rebuild a system. So what I realized very early on when I was 21 was that the fashion industry was losing its core identity with creation and co-creation. And also it was not geared at helping the consumer to find their identity and their truth, but to make money through systems, through marketing system and business system, and to basically play, I'm going to be very forward, to play on people's insecurities to make money on their back. And that's something that I absolutely despise. So I realized also very early on, I was extremely lucky, both ends actually, because in the luxury and fashion industry, I had incredible mentors, such as Hubert de Givenchy, Christian Lacroix, Yves Saint Laurent. And I'm not saying that other people, I'm saying that because they were masters. If people knew Mr. Balenciaga today, who was actually Mr. Hubert de Givenchy mentor, they would be shocked because it's absolutely not what the brand has become. So it's been hijacked by financial persons who wake up in the morning to take from you some money and instead try to convince you through celebrities and their whole marketing systems that you're going to be very special, but actually they don't care about you. When those creators, those incredible creators as Yves Saint Laurent or Hubert de Givenchy or Mr. Balenciaga woke up in the morning because they were so happy to give to you and to create for you to make you look your best in your truth. So very early on, I understood when I was 21, I was again very lucky to come across incredible technologies that are still, some of them still not disclosed. So it's true that some technology has not been disclosed to us. And I realized that high-end personalization, which is the definition of haute couture back in the 80s or the 60s, would apply for all of us. So I came across as a vision moment, I would say, or haha moment, where I said, well, okay, so I need to go back to technology in order to bring back and honor again creation and co-creation that doesn't exist in the fashion industry and the luxury industry today. It's dead, even with Chanel and Dior. It's not what it used to be. And they are the last ones with Hermes and Chanel who can have a little bit, I would say 20% of what it used to be. And also combined, so honor creation and co-creation and personalization for everybody, for the masses. So I came across a service powered by AI, but a good AI, connected to biosensors invisibly incorporated in high-end craftsmanship products that would determine everything about you. And so basically my aim is to rebalance what has been unbalanced. So I witnessed since I was 21 up to today, for 3 decades, the destruction of the luxury and fashion industry by taking out what was really making luxury. Even Mr. Pierre Berger, who was Yves Saint Laurent's partner in finance, there's a video of him from the 90s saying, if Yves Saint Laurent was here today, he would hate the way the fashion industry and luxury industry have, what they've become. Because back then, Mr. Pierre Berger, who was in finance, respected and never dealt with the creativity side of Yves Saint Laurent. He was trusting him. And Yves Saint Laurent never intervened with Pierre Berger's financial side of it. He was trusting him. It was a win-win. Today, it's not a win-win. Today, it's big groups who completely destroy creation and co-creation, which, by the way, are the only powers we have as humans.
Yeah.
In every single field we are, connected to our consciousness, connected to source, connected to our true human form. So they destroy that. And they basically created a system that not only uses us as a cattle to make money on our lack of self-confidence, but completely blurred and gaslighted us in who we truly are. Look like this model, look like this celebrity. Why? You're perfect the way you are. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. So in my head, I spent 30 years working in that field in what I call the old system, because I was very determined to learn how to make money, how to understand retail, how to understand business, how to understand manufacturing, how to understand every single side of this industry, so I could honor creativity again. That was my determination. And at the same time, simultaneously, I connected with a lot of scientists all over the world to understand how I could build my AI service, but a trustworthy one, and biosensors and chips invisibly incorporated into craftsmanship, connected to that AI service. So I would bring tools so everybody can rebalance another thing that has been unbalanced through many different kind of systems, not just the fashion system or the luxury system, on how we are built. So to me, we're built with a body, a mind, emotions, and energies and frequencies. And we live in a society today where the mind, which is only 5% of us, what constitutes us as human beings, the body have been completely enhanced. But the emotions and our energies and frequencies canceled. So imagine yourself climbing a mountain and you've got only a hand and a foot. You don't have any stability. So it would be the body and the mind.
Yeah.
You need to rebalance the way we are naturally formed as human beings. And that's just one part of it. So one part of it for me with is always to find solutions, basically at the service of others. So those products would be, for instance, in jewelry, and to be able for us to reconnect first with our 5 senses, because we forgot how many smells, how many colors, the music.
Yeah.
We forgot all that being on the phone all the time. And then reconnect slowly, detach from the ego that has been thrown at us. You're someone, if you have money, you've got a house, you look like a supermodel, you've got a Dior bag. No, you're not someone if you have all that. That's the outskirts that they want you to believe. You're so much more than that. So much more perfect and beautiful. But you never had tools to build your identity, to understand why. So reconnect first. And I love to take a brand and I love to take a person as a designer where they are today, according to who they are and how they feel today, their taste, their social class. I used to be a personal shopper in a couture in Washington, D.C. for a while. And I dress very poor people, middle people, and very famous people. And I take them all the same because I see the soul as a soul in the body vehicle. I don't look at I'm not dazzled by a bank account or a title. I'm dazzled by who are you in your substance, and what is your energy, and how can I help you? It's all human processes we need to learn again. You know, when you wake up in the morning to give, it's like when you throw a stone on a lake and it ripples in goodness. And it's basically creating an energy you give. And that's why I love teaching. And Hubert de Givenchy loved teaching too, because it's bringing your legacy to the process of giving, and the other one receives and thrives. Doesn't have to give back to you, gives back by only evolving and expanding. And if we kill many systems, the financial system, the educational system, the health system, the fashion system, they're all trying to kill the universal laws. But guess what? It makes me laugh. Because the universal laws, you can put it in a bag for 30 years. It's never going to be destroyed. At the end of the day, that system who tried to asphyxiate the universal laws will die. And that's exactly where we are today in the luxury and the fashion industry. So how do you rebuild yourself? By reconnecting slowly where you are today with your senses, your emotions, each of us at a stage of development, which is very different from each of us. In also the individual ways for us to evolve, because it's different for each of us. Some people stagnate for a while, some others thrive and grow very quick, or learn, go on this direction, the other one is going to go in that direction. So it's a very personalized process that needs to happen in free will. And so
I find this so, I just have to pause here for a moment and say how blown away I am by the idea that somehow the high fashion industry could be instrumental in reconnecting us in such a grounded way to who we are. It seems like the last place in the world that anyone would look for a very personalized, grounded experience of reconnecting with your senses. Tell me more about how you came to this. I mean, I understand that you had so many years in the industry and kind of watched it degrade, but the idea of putting sort of AI technology together with high fashion to to detach people from what we think now, or what it's easy to imagine that the fashion industry is standing for the opposite of this. That technology and AI could come in and rescue fashion and luxury and our human spirit at the same time. This is tremendous.
thank you so much for the question. The fashion industry used to be a phenomenal tool to be ourselves, to dress according to our personality. It used to be like that back in the days. Take, for instance, cultures, a village in South America or in Kashmir, where I went. They had a legacy of craftsmanship that they were giving on from generations to generations. And a woman back then, before the fashion industry existed, was wearing, yes, according to the social class, according to the weather, and according to the culture things, but also according to herself. So the people most secure would create for themselves, a decoration, an embellishment, or an accessory. But it was a way to define who you are. When you take fashion, I love to take things at their core, or the etymology of a word or habit or the culture. Yeah. Fashion was what? It was just social class, and it was identity, of course, but social class and weather. And then the aristocracy created the ego, because if the princess or the king was to wear something, and I have an example, a funny one actually, the reason why men in the aristocracy in Europe never close the last button of their vest when they have a three-piece suit is because Louis XIV had eaten too much one day and opened the button, so the whole court had to do the same as he did. And that tradition is still alive today. I mean, the nonsense of it is just incredible. So fashion still, when I was in my 15-year-old, 20, I was very lucky to be given by Hubert de Givenchy, François Lesage, who was the house of embroidery haute couture for 6 generations. So for 6 generations, they were creating the most high-end embroideries by hand. It was incredible work. I went to those ateliers in those houses. It was magic. It was just silence and all these women giving their best for embroideries to create the most exclusive, beautiful excellence of craftsmanship.
Yeah.
That love, that excellence of craftsmanship is just beautiful. You can find that in a musician or a mathematician. Yeah, or I work with scientists today. The power of creativity is just beautiful. It can be frustrating sometimes, but it's also beautiful when you go out of yourself and you evolve. It's all linking us in our consciousness to the fact that we are solely driven by expansion and evolution. When you stop expansion and evolution, or when you derail it, that's when all the chaos happens. So creation and co-creation are the only powers we have, and they go with that process of expansion and evolution in all ways, in the way we deal with our consciousness, with our lives, in the way we identify ourselves, in the way we create. You know, a teacher at school can create a new way to teach to their kids. A child creates, they love creating. It's completely normal for them when they're born. The educational system bring that the other way around.
Yeah.
So for me, I find it very important to pass on that legacy I received. It's a sense of responsibility I have. I was lucky to meet with those incredible masters. They passed on something to me. Like Monsieur de Givenchy said to me, I received from Monsieur Balenciaga, who, by the way, was a very humble man living in Spain. And in Spain, women had their back, they were short, and their back was a little bit bended. So he spent hours and hours to create patterns for jackets, so the back of the woman would look straight with the
Oh,
jacket.
wow.
So that's what luxury and fashion used to be. People used to spend a lot of time not only honoring the legacy of the craftsmanship they had from generation to generation, but to excel and make it better. And that has been destroyed, unfortunately, and I witnessed it. So I feel important to pass that on to, I've been teaching at Parsons in New York, in Dubai, and I love to pass it on to my kids, to new generations, because what they understand of fashion today is absolutely not the world I used to know. When you take the Fabergé egg made in Russia, it was incredible craftsmanship combined with incredible technology inside back then. Why can't we recreate the same? That's my comparison, by the way. So I feel that not only this has to stop, because it's becoming an insult to our humanity. When I see girls today, and I was teaching in Dubai with girls, 20-year-old, completely remade in, how do you say, surgery, because they don't accept their body. Wanting to look like a celebrity, wanting to, I said, stop, this is killing our humanity. It's very interesting because people think that AI and technology, yes, there was a bad AI, that's very true. And I was also concerned about it before the whole COVID thing until 2020. But today there's a good AI, much better one coming up, more controllable, I would say. So when people are afraid of AI, I want to say, no, you're the one in charge. Stop thinking, like when you listen to the news, when you listen to the fashion, oh, I have to be like this because the collection was like that with Chanel, so I need to wear those things. No, you don't. You actually don't. They should be at your service to honor your moods, your personality, and also the context in which you're going to do things today. They should be smarter. AI is the same. AI is an assistant at your service. You're the one in charge to teach AI what to do, to assist you.
I have
and
to tell you,
boundaries.
I had such a beautiful conversation yesterday with Sharon Gal-Or, who says that,
oh yeah,
that it's angelic intelligence. You know, he said it's not artificial intelligence, but that we're the ones, AI is like, it's our creation, and we nurture it like our child, and we teach it how to be ethical and how to be humble. And
I'm going to give the example. I wouldn't say it's angelic yet, but there will be some of that, yes. It's being protected in some ways by incredible souls, making sure that today, and because there's more happening with quantum innovation too, and things that we're not aware of. But when I take the comparison of my grandfather, who told me when he was 5 years old, there was only horses in the street in the 1900s because he was not living in an expensive area. And his mother was saying, be careful of the bike who might come into the road. Bike. Yeah. And then be careful of the one car. Yeah. And people who were on horses didn't like the car. How am I going to do? So people don't like change. They don't understand that it's actually going to help their lives because they're in their habits. And it's very difficult, the fear of change. It's the same with AI. Yes, it will take jobs. Yes, it will change your life. But it's going to give us the incredible opportunity to become human again. And what the message that I want to say is, it's today that we're not human. It's today that we're zombies. Because the systems in place, the old financial system, which is changing also, by the way, the political system, the educational system, the media system, the fashion system, you name it, all of them were geared by, I'm going to take, so there's the 1% and the 99%. Something is shifting and has been shifting for a long time, but it's happening now and it's going to be exponential until 2030. It's the complete change in the new financial system worldwide with blockchain and the digital financial system backed on precious metals. And this is a reality with the BRICS countries. And that's really what's going on, not on the surface, but in the background. And it's a reality. Banks are changing. JP Morgan is using this. HSBC has reshuffled everything. So this new financial system will empower the 99% and the small businesses in ways. I hear people telling me, oh, it's always the same, the politicians, and it's always, and I'm like, no, this time something is really shifting. But are you ready? Are you really ready to hold that responsibility and that change? And that's where I come in and say, by being empowered to not need a bank with your money and to be in power of your money without a third party, you will be empowered in your humanity. But what is your sense of self? What is your sense of identity? How do you build it? And today, we're in a society where kids only are on the phone and the computer. They don't know how to be alone with themselves. They want to look like someone else, or they are taken by, I have teenagers and I see my daughter, 13 or 15, telling me, being very aware of what people are going to say of her, because that's the age. Yeah, so cool. Social media is taking over. People don't know who they are. They don't. The society has said, oh, you need to have money, you need to own this, you need to have that title, that house, that car to be someone.
So tell me, please, how do you foresee the fashion industry intervening here, or you're the new, not the existing fashion industry, but how do you envision fashion and wearables helping people to rediscover their identity?
Well, first I'm going to say where you stumbled on. Okay. I mentioned that a little bit. We're in a transition, and this is a 20, 30, 40 years transition, where technology is playing a big game, and we can see that with AI being pushed the last 6 months to the public. But there will be much more coming up, and the speed of it will go much higher starting 2027. So I would say in this stage of transition, we're onto Earth. So there's the old Earth, the old-fashioned companies. Some of them will disappear. Some of them will stay, but they will have to restructure. So I'm helping the one who have to restructure. And it's not easy because they were on their pedestals, because they have their ways, because it's not an easy process. But the tsunami of what's happening right now in changes and the speed that will increase will force them to, they won't have any other choices. And that already happened in the financial system, even if it's not in the mainstream news, but the specialized news, I would say. And a new system has to come up. It's exactly what happened in the fashion system. A new system is coming up and the old one had to restructure. So it's the same. And for me, fashion today, the disgrace, yes, I would say 99% of it, or 95, except the good families, fashion companies that are still working on the love of creation, I would say. But the new system that I put in place now, with that AI service and those Internet of Things connected luxury designs, accessories to start with, can create a catalyst.
Internet of Things, you just said, huh? That
Yes, so the aim is to decompose the phone and the computer. The aim is to reconnect with what has been imbalanced, which are reconnecting with our senses, reconnecting with ourselves, reconnecting in harmony with what we're made of, a body, a mind, emotions, and frequencies. So through objects, in a very playful manner, very simple, and going gradually, because again, you have to take someone where they are today and then evolve along with them, stimulate them, inspire them, see what ticks, what doesn't tick. So by creating, for instance, 2 rings, that's one of the things that I can talk about. So within a ring like this with a crystal, an invisible biosensor would be inside. And my daughter goes to Princeton for her university, and I'm in London, and I'm going to miss her. So I give to her a ring. I have also one. And then with a biosensor, it's going to connect with either a touch, which is one sense, or an emotion in neuroscience. That's the second step. And it will be then connected to an AI application that you can personalize on the use the way you want. But for instance, if I miss her, I'm going to touch my ring. And in Princeton, she can be in a class, and her ring can either light up or vibrate, or perfume can come up, or light. A light can enlight the crystal. And it's a much more poetic way not to send an emoji or "Hi, darling, I'm missing you" through a text. So it's creating slowly through craftsmanship and tech a very simple way to create a new language to communicate with someone in a poetic way. Could be 2 lovers, it could be best friends, but it also could be a mother with children. So you can have a pomelato kind of design with 2 crystals if you have 2 children, or 3 crystals if you have 3 children. And then according on who calls you, one of the crystal would lit up, but you create a code. Nobody knows the interpretation on why your jewelry, it could be a bracelet, it could be a talisman, it could be anything. You create your own code, your own use, but it's reconnecting you with your sense of smell, touch. You can also connect it to music. You can also have a personal use, where the biosensor would feel if you feel down, and then either scent would come out to soothe you in well-being. It already exists. Or a lot of things of what I'm saying already exists, but it's punctual. It's not incorporated into a system for reason geared at other people's evolution.
right.
So that's number 1. Number 2, how can you decompose in neuroscience through luxury craftsmanship? So all this technology should be invisible, only at your service. And in free will, you should be able to personalize it. So then when you come to clothing, it's the same concept. Little invisible sensors can be incorporated in seams. And if you feel down, a little fiber would come out, an angora in this sweater to soothe me, or hit, or a smell, or one of the things that you're doing with plants to heal me if I need to, for someone who has epilepsy or a back pain, then you can have a plant system incorporated into the fiber. And by the way, this technology has been existing for a very long time with the military and with
well, that's so cool. Because of course I know we've had this conversation that of course the 38 Bach flowers are frequencies in essence that are captured in liquid water as a delivery mechanism, but the frequency is a frequency. So when you have technology to deliver that frequency, in another way. Like you're saying, imagine that you can be wearing a sweater or a necklace that can detect a need for the rebalancing and deliver the frequency to you. Like it's amazing.
It's very important. That's the reason why I created several ranges of products and concepts, and I welcome every single new technology that makes sense to me to create even more products. So it's endless. It's an ecosystem between incredible scientists creating new ways of doing things. At MIT, they just created a new fabric that can expand with your body and create heat according to where you're hurt. So I'm communicating with those people to see how I could use that into a service. And basically the major change is what? At the end of the day, in the next 30, 40 years, you are your own brand.
Hmm.
And when you are your own brand and you know how to reconnect with your true human form and your true unique identity, you don't need to look like a model. You don't need to wear a Dior. You are empowered. And when you're empowered by being much better built in your true human identity and unique form, you can handle the new financial system better too, and all the new systems that are coming up. You can handle AI better because you're not afraid of AI. You understand AI is at your service. So the change that people are fearing is actually should be embraced. People need to understand. I mean, there's a lot of trust that people are bringing into AI to reassure the majority who is afraid of what is new, what they don't understand, changing their habits. But today, all those old systems that were built to make us become so low in our humanity are being dismantled slowly. And it's, again, a 20, 30 years program.
Yeah, but that's a good direction, right?
Yeah.
That,
and I have a very good example because people used to tell me, oh, you're crazy. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. Why do you want to change the fashion system? And I said, well, number one, it's never going to be called fashion again. It's going to be called something else. But it's a fabulous tool to, if well used, that can bring brushes, paint, and a canvas. So you create your own story with those tools. So for instance, if you take Chanel or Dior, they should re-evaluate their leadership values, their ethics, and how they start in their DNA. So they can really, truly offer their know-how, their excellence of experience and craftsmanship and knowledge of creating beauty and excellence at the service of someone. And that's what it used to be. So if you take, for instance, I don't know, Marlene Dietrich or Marilyn Monroe, back in the days, they would come to Paris to be dressed by couture. So Marilyn Monroe has a very unique personality, not the same personality, no body type as Marlene Dietrich, right? She goes to Mr. Dior at New Montaigne. He's got a very unique sense of design in his creativity. So he's going to create with his uniqueness, something unique for Marilyn Monroe that will be different than for Marlene Dietrich, right? And then they decide, oh, I also like Madame Chanel. So I'm going to go Rue Cambon. And Madame Chanel has a very different personality than Mr. Dior. And he's going to create a very unique dress for Marilyn Monroe and another one very different for Marlene Dietrich. So that's my AI service, basically, where everybody, and that's where a brand should evolve in the luxury brand, to create a system of ultra personalization.
wow.
And the speed of quantum AI, which actually it's so funny because Willow just came out from Google yesterday and everybody's on it. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's going to be trillions of data, processed in like a fraction of a second. It would have required 140 years old computers. They're just waking up to that. So yes, we can create that ultra consumer centric, ultra personalized product for people. So brands in luxury need to come back to their core DNA and let go of the old systems of business, marketing, everything they've been building for 40 years. And it requires a lot of humanity to do that and a lot of flexibility. But if they're smart enough to do that, they understand that they're going to be even stronger to be at the service of others. It was before that they were poor. And it's today that we're poor in a sense of humanity. But it goes further than that. This is only mending what was imbalanced and destroyed in the past. So yes, I do believe that on top of the educational system, and actually that AI service is also very educational and playing, using also gaming techniques to educate, to stimulate, but in your truth. So to me, the fashion industry is a fabulous opportunity to create tools to help people build their sense of self and identity. And the first stage is to be where we are today, reconnect with senses and emotions. The second stage is frequencies and energies. Nobody really understands that except people who understand a little bit more of, spiritual or esoteric practice. It's actually not that esoteric at all. It's just that an incredible part of us has been dismissed and put on the side because it is dangerous, because it's powerful to have your frequencies and energy. Very powerful. When someone says, it's very simple, I've got a gut feeling. Well, that's your energy saying something to you. It's your intuition. It's very powerful and it's very simple. When someone says, oh, I had a déjà vu, well, we're going to reconnect with our frequencies and your multidimensional tools and powers this way, slowly. So it's the reason why my motto is for the next 10, 20 years, we need to shift from I think to I feel. Mm-hmm. It's not just emotions, it's also feeling the frequencies and energies and reconnecting with that because it's connected to our consciousness. So all this at the end of the day is to offer tools for every single culture and honor cultures again. Why should we blur, masculine, feminine? There's a divine masculine, there's a divine feminine, full stop. Why do you want to transvestite things and I'm very adamant about that. It's like saying the sun is black and the moon is, waterfalls.
Yeah.
No, you want to create that? Go ahead. I'm not going to criticize you, but you're going against nature. And how long can you lie to something that you can change? You cannot. And I'm not against gay, and I'm not going to go in that direction at all. It has nothing to do with that. We all have a harmony between our masculine, feminine energy inside ourselves.
Yeah.
And there is a very strong importance between masculine and feminine. It's the duality between dark and light, the duality feminine, masculine. There is, again, a process, a harmonious process that needs to take place for the integration back to space. And I repeat, the end game is the integration of the duality back to space, in one sentence. That created natural processes that our ancestors knew, or in Amazonia, or in India, or in China. They had those knowledges in Europe too, the Indians in America too, but we've been detached from all that because a few wanted to make money and have power. And actually they were very poor. They controlled the world for a very long time. They controlled the humanity for a very long time. But once again, the financial system in the US worked incredibly well for 30 or 40 years. And guess what? It collapsed. At the end of the day, when something is not in harmony with the universal laws, it collapses.
Yeah.
As strong as powers in play and we're, playing that game for hundreds of years or even more, it collapses. It's not sustainable. So what do we choose? Do we choose to recreate and reconnect with those natural human and consciousness processes, or we don't, because that's free will. Everybody can do whatever they want. But for me, all those systems, starting by the new digital financial system, where incredible souls spend their lives, every single morning I wake up and thank those souls that we'll never know, that help this system come to what it is today. And it's a battle. And now I see today rising so many souls on the planet at an international level, making sure that new cities will be built more in accordance to our humanity, a new way of doing agriculture, health, education, transports. My part, my modest part, is the fashion system, the luxury system, to honor creation and co-creation again, to try to find back the legacy of that craftsmanship that we lost, and then create new tools to help us rebalance what has been unbalanced. And then at the end of the day, the end game is to reconnect with our frequencies once we know better who we are and we are better built. So our consciousness expands, and because we are all connected to source and all one, if a few of us do that, then more of us will do that, and it will help the process of expansion and evolution of consciousness for integration of the duality back to source.
This is incredible. I thank you so much for sharing all of this. There's so much to unpack here, but I'm personally going to go back and listen to it all again because there was really a lot there. So I thank you so much for being here. And please tell people, where could they go to connect with you or to find more?
Well, the only way to reach me is on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Right now, I am building, so I'm also a very down-to-earth mom with a daily job, and simultaneously putting together the right team of scientists and investors to launch this hopefully by 2025. So the only way to reach me is by email. Everybody can find my contacts on my LinkedIn profile.
On LinkedIn. Okay, I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. Thank you once again for being here. This was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you, Tracy, really. Thank you so much. And thank you for being you and all you do.